The smell of wine on his breath makes me sick. I shove his hands off my shoulders and step away, trying to clear my head. Cinna comes over and puts his arm around me. He's right, Katniss. I don't know what to think. I should have been told, so I didn't look stupid. No, your reaction was perfect. If you'd known, it wouldn't have read as real, says Portia. She's just worried about her boyfriend, says Peeta gruffly, tossing away a bloody piece of the urn. My cheeks burn again at the thought of Gale. I don't have a boyfriend. Whatever, says Peeta, but I bet he's smart enough to know a bluff when he sees it. Besides, you didn't say you loved me, so what does it matter? The words are sinking in, my anger fading. I'm torn now between thinking I've been used and thinking I've been given an edge. Haymitch is right. I survived my interview, but what was I really? A silly girl spinning in a sparkling dress, giggling. The only moment of any substance I had was when I talked about Prim. Compare that with Thresh, his silent deadly power, and I'm forgettable. Silly and sparkly and forgettable. No, not entirely forgettable. I still have my 11 in training. But now, Peeta has made me an object of love, not just his. To hear him tell it, I have many admirers, and if the audience really thinks we're in love, I remember how strongly they responded to his confession. Star-crossed lovers. Haymitch is right. They eat that stuff up in the capital. Suddenly, I'm worried that I didn't react properly. After he said he loved me, did you think I could be in love with him too? I ask. I did, says Portia. The way you avoided looking at the cameras, the blush. The others chime in, agreeing. You're golden, sweetheart. You're going to have sponsors lined up around the block, says Haymitch. I'm embarrassed about my reaction. I force myself to acknowledge Peeta. I'm sorry I shoved you. Doesn't matter, he shrugs, although it's technically illegal. Are your hands okay? I ask. They'll be all right, he says. In the silence that follows, delicious smells of our dinner waft in from the dining room. Come on, let's eat, says Haymitch. We all follow him to the table and take our places, but then Peeta is bleeding too heavily, and Portia leads him off for medical treatment. We start the cream and rose petal soup without him. By the time we finished, they're back. Peeta's hands are wrapped in bandages. I can't help feeling guilty. Tomorrow we will be in the arena. He has done me a favor, and I have answered with an injury. Will I ever stop owing him? After dinner, we watch the replay in the sitting room. I seem frilly and shallow, twirling and giggling in my dress, although the others assure me I am charming. Peeta actually is charming, and then utterly winning as the boy in love. And there I am, blushing and confused, made beautiful by Cinna's hands, desirable by Peeta's confession, tragic by circumstance, and by all accounts, unforgettable. When the anthem finishes and the screen goes dark, a hush falls on the room. Tomorrow, at dawn, we will be roused and prepared for the arena. The actual games don't start until 10 because so many of the capital residents rise late. But Peeta and I must make an early start. There is no telling how far we will travel to the arena that has been prepared for this year's games. I know Haymitch and Effie will not be going with us. As soon as they leave here, they'll be at the game's headquarters, hopefully madly signing up our sponsors, working out a strategy on how and when to deliver the gifts to us. Cinna and Portia will travel with us to the very spot from which we will be launched into the arena. Still, final goodbyes must be said here. Effie takes both of us by the hand and, with actual tears in her eyes, wishes us well. Thanks us for being the best tributes it has ever been her privilege to sponsor, and then, because it's Effie and she's apparently required by law to say something awful, she adds, I wouldn't be at all surprised if I finally got promoted to a decent district next year. Then she kisses us each on the cheek and hurries out, overcome with either the emotional parting or the possible improvement of her fortunes. Haymitch crosses his arms and looks us both over. Any final words of advice? asks Peeta. When the gong sounds, get the hell out of there. You're neither of you to go to the bloodbath at the cornucopia. Just clear out. Put as much distance as you can between yourselves and the others, and find a source of water, he says. Got it? And after that? I ask. Stay alive, says Hamish. It's the same advice he gave us on the train, but he's not drunk and laughing this time, and we only nod. What else is there to say? When I head to my room, Peeta lingers to talk to Portia. I'm glad. Whatever strange words of parting we exchange can wait until tomorrow. My covers are drawn back, but there is no sign of the red-headed Avox girl. I wish I knew her name. I should have asked it. She could write it down, maybe, or act it out, but perhaps that would only result in punishment for her. I take a shower and scrub the gold paint, the makeup, the scent of beauty from my body. All that remains of the design team's efforts are the flames on my nails. I decide to keep them as a reminder of who I am to the audience. Katniss, the girl who was on fire. Perhaps it will give me something to hold on to in the days to come. I pull on a thick, fleecy nightgown and climb into bed. It takes me about 5 seconds to realize I'll never fall asleep, and I need sleep desperately because in the arena, every moment I give in to fatigue will be an invitation to death. It's no good. 1 hour, 2, 3 pass, and my eyelids refuse to get heavy. I can't stop trying to imagine exactly what terrain I'll be thrown into. Desert, swamp, a frigid wasteland? Above all, I'm hoping for trees, which may afford me some means of concealment and food and shelter. Often there are trees because barren landscapes are dull and the games resolve too quickly without them. But what will the climate be like? What traps have the game makers hidden to liven up the slower moments? And then there are my fellow tributes. The more anxious I am to find sleep, the more it eludes me. Finally, I am too restless to even stay in bed. I pace the floor, heart beating too fast, breathing too short. My room feels like a prison cell. If I don't get air soon, I'm going to start to throw things again. I run down the hall to the door to the roof. It's not only unlocked, but ajar. Perhaps someone forgot to close it, but it doesn't matter. The energy field enclosing the roof prevents any desperate form of escape. And I'm not looking for escape, only to fill my lungs with air. I want to see the sky and the moon on the last night that no one will be hunting me. The roof is not only lit at night, but as soon as my bare feet reaches its tiled surface, I see his silhouette, black against the lights that shine endlessly in the Capitol. There's quite a commotion going on down in the streets. Music and singing and car horns, none of which I could hear through the thick glass window panels in my room. I could slip away now, without him noticing me. He wouldn't hear me over the din. But the night air's so sweet. I can't bear returning to that stuffy cage of a room. And what difference does it make, whether we speak or not? My feet move soundlessly across the tiles. I'm only a yard behind him when I say, "You should be getting some sleep." He starts, but doesn't turn. I can see him give his head a slight shake. I didn't want to miss the party. It's for us, after all. I come up beside him and lean over the edge of the rail. The wide streets are full of dancing people. I squint to make out their tiny figures in more detail. Are they in costumes? Who could tell? Peeta answers. With all the crazy clothes they wear here. Couldn't sleep either? Couldn't turn my mind off, I say. Thinking about your family? He asks. No, I admit a bit guiltily. All I can do is wonder about tomorrow, which is pointless, of course. In the light from below, I can see his face now, the awkward way he holds his bandaged hands. I really am sorry about your hands. It doesn't matter, Katniss, he says. I've never been a contender in these games anyway. That's no way to be thinking, I say. Why not? It's true. My best hope is not to disgrace myself and... He hesitates. And what? I say. I don't know how to say it exactly, only... I want to die as myself. Does that make any sense? He asks. I shake my head. How could he die as anyone but himself? I don't want them to change me in there. Turn me into some kind of monster that I'm not. I bite my lip, feeling inferior. While I've been ruminating on the availability of trees, Peeta has been struggling with how to maintain his identity, his purity of self. Do you mean you won't kill anyone? I ask. No, when the time comes, I'm sure I'll kill just like everybody else. I can't go down without a fight. Only I keep wishing I could think of a way to show the Capitol they don't own me, that I'm more than just a piece in their games, says Peeta. But you're not, I say. None of us are. That's how the games work. Okay, but within that framework, there's still you, there's still me, he insists. Don't you see? A little only. No offense, but who cares, Peeta? I say. I do. I mean, what else am I allowed to care about at this point? He asks angrily. He locks those blue eyes on mine now, demanding an answer. I take a step back. Care about what Hamish said. About staying alive. Peeta smiles at me, sad and mocking. Okay. Thanks for the tip, sweetheart. It's like a slap in the face, his use of Hamish's patronizing endearment. Look, if you want to spend the last hours of your life planning some noble death in the arena, that's your choice. I want to spend mine in District 12. Wouldn't surprise me if you do, says Peeta. Give my mother my best when you make it back, will you? Count on it, I say, and then I turn and leave the roof. I spend the rest of the night slipping in and out of a doze, imagining the cutting remarks I will make to Peeta Mellark in the morning. Peeta Mellark. We will see how high and mighty he is when he's faced with life and death. He'll probably turn into one of those raging beast tributes, the kind who tries to eat someone's heart after they kill them. There was a guy like that a few years ago from District 6 called Titus. He went completely savage, and the game makers had to have him stunned with electric guns to collect the bodies of the players he'd killed before he ate them. There are no rules in the arena, but cannibalism doesn't play well with the Capitol audience, so they tried to head it off. There was some speculation of the avalanche that finally took Titus out was specifically engineered to ensure the victor was not a lunatic. I don't see Peeta in the morning. Cinna comes to me before dawn, gives me a simple shift to wear, and guides me to the roof. My final dressing and preparations will be done in the catacombs under the arena itself. A hovercraft appears out of thin air, just like the one that did in the woods the day I saw the red-headed Avox girl captured, and a ladder drops down. I place my hands and feet on the lower rungs, and instantly it's as if I'm frozen. Some sort of current glues me to the ladder while I'm lifted safely inside. I expect the ladder to release me then, but I'm still stuck when a woman in a white coat approaches me, carrying a syringe. This is just your tracker, Katniss. The stiller you are, the more efficiently I can place it, she says. Still, I'm a statue. But that doesn't prevent me from feeling the sharp stab of pain as the needle inserts the metal tracking device deep under the skin on the inside of my forearm. Now the game makers will be able to trace my whereabouts in the arena. Wouldn't want to lose a tribute. As soon as the tracker's in place, the ladder releases me. The woman disappears, and Cinna is retrieved from the roof. An Avox boy comes in and directs us to a room where breakfast has been laid out. Despite the tension in my stomach, I eat as much as I can, although none of the delectable food makes any impression on me. I'm so nervous, I could be eating coal dust. The one thing that distracts me at all is the view from the windows as we sail over the city and then to the wilderness beyond. This is what birds see, only they're free and safe, the very opposite of me. The ride lasts about half an hour before the windows black out, suggesting that we're nearing the arena. The hovercraft lands, and Cinna and I go back to the ladder. Only this time, it leads down into a tube underground into the catacombs that lie beneath the arena. We follow instructions to my destination, a chamber for my preparation. In the capital, they call it the launch room. In the districts, it's referred to as the stockyard, the place animals go before slaughter. Everything is brand new. I will be the first and only tribute to use this launch room. The arenas are historic sites, preserved after the games, popular destinations for the Capitol residents to visit, to vacation. Go for a month, rewatch the games, tour the catacombs, visit the sites where the deaths took place. You can even take part in reenactments. They say the food is excellent.